Welcome to the Creative Mind. ODK space, number 5? Damn, already, huh? For those that don't know, my name is Andrew Lyko. I am the founder of ODK, and this is by far one of my favorite spaces to do. We like to dive into the creative mind of artists, especially the ones that we collaborate with and such. But today we actually have a special guest, and we're going to be diving into the mind of our lore master. Yes, we do have full out lore. It's been under development for a few months, I would say. Get down here. Remember, it's been a while.
Yeah,
Definitely months.
Yeah.
It's been a few
It's like
months.
Yeah.
3 months.
Damn,
A little
time
over.
flies, man. But yeah, we're gonna be diving into his mind, talk about that a little bit, and we do have an auction that is currently live. We timed this perfectly so we can go ahead and close the auction while on the space to make it a little bit more exciting. And I'll give a little bit of update with that soon. But just a quick intro. I am a contemporary fine artist. I have been in the space as a collector, as like a DJ for like 8 months or so. As a one-on-one artist, I've been in the space for about 3 months, and I've had really, really good success with all the tactics, methods, and overall experience that I've been able to gain as an artist full time. I've been doing this all my life, so ODK is a very personal project of mine, right? It's catering to both sides, artists and collectors. And overall, man, like when I talk about ODK, the real root of everything is what I'm trying to really teach and kind of like put out to the world is this feeling, right? A feeling of being a one dope kid in your own way, whatever that looks like. And so what we're doing is we're helping facilitate that, helping artists kind of find their voice or, get to the next level, helping collectors be a little bit more knowledgeable on, who and what to collect based on their interests. So it's a little bit of everything, so that's a quick little intro with that. That being said, our auction for now is doing pretty fucking well, man. I'm super proud and stoked to have Fiasco be on the roster. He is kind of new to the space, but not new to art. For those who haven't really seen his work, he has a vast a very large body of experience when it comes to creating art. He does come from a similar type of background as I do, from being in real life kind of artist, painting, doing murals, stuff like that. So I will be talking about kind of his process and everything that went down to create his collaborated critter, which is called the Street Critter, which right now is sitting at 21 SO with 54 minutes left on the auction. So super fucking pumped for that, man. I think he absolutely killed it. He came with a different approach. He killed his critter. So for those that haven't seen it, I mean, Brew, can you pin it up to the top? One that shows the image, and I think you put the process video right now. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I got both of them pinned up, the video and also the picture.
Try and see if you can get the picture pinned up so it can be the first one showing. So people can just kind of get a glimpse of what it looks like.
Got you, brother.
Yeah, but he has a very distinct type of line work, right? And his style is very, like I see like this Aztec type of cultural influence, which is I think is very interesting. So for this first segment, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of like narrate a little bit about himself and what he his creative process when creating this critter, because he does have a bit of a language, right? He speaks Spanish, and so it wasn't comfortable enough to kind of come up here right now and have this conversation live. So I did send him some of the questions ahead of time so he can answer. All right. So if anybody has anything to say real quick before I go ahead and get into it, go ahead and feel free to come up, say something, say what's up. Drew, you have something to say? Drew, anybody, just go ahead and do it now.
Yo, what's up? That's all.
Beautiful.
What's going on, brother? Much love.
Love it. Quick little what's up. That's what people want to hear, bro. They need that, right? You gotta give them a little bit of that.
They love it, man.
Love it. All right, for sure. I'll just get straight into it. So I asked them 6 questions, and this is the same questions that I ask every artist that collaborates with ODK, right? And to kind of keep it consistent. So obviously, the first question is, what is your backgrounds, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself. And this is his response. My name is Jose. I am a self-taught visual artist. I learned everything I know by studying and practicing on my own, reading books, watching videos, and other artists' works. Practicing a lot is how I keep studying and learning. Great. So seems like again, we have a similar background, which is like he seems to process everything that kind of comes to him, and he has found a way to channel this strictly for his art, right? And I think this is something that kind of happens over time with experience. The more and more you do this with your mind, the more and more it becomes kind of like natural habit. So at first you might need to train yourself to kind of like let these things influence you, and then you're kind of controlling the wave. But over time, I have noticed even with myself that things just starts to hit me more naturally, right? And it's more like subconsciously. And I kind of let that funnel, that energy channel through, and it expresses in my work. So it seems like he has a similar way of doing things when it comes to his art and how he gets inspired. All right. So second question. Let me see real quick. 1 second, guys. My phone is rugging me. Okay, how did you get into art? His response: I always knew I would dedicate myself to art, but I grew up and without formal studies in art and design, nobody hired me for anything, so I had to work several years in other things that I didn't like. Fuck, let me pause that right there real quick, man, because I feel like artists really need to hear this. Even collectors kind of build this appreciation, right? It's not easy going full time creating your art or having the access to do this, right? In the beginning, you might need to do a whole lot of side hustles, a lot of things to kind of get you going and put you in a position that you can create freely, right? And so I can definitely relate on that end where it's like you need to do all these other things to just be able to do what you want, you know? So for, working in several years just to be able to express yourself and create something that you want other people to kind of appreciate, it takes a lot of balls and it takes a lot of guts, and it's a very long grind. So, big ups to you, bro. Let me continue. All right. I worked, for example, as a cook in call centers, a salesperson, collections, etc. And I was always practicing my drawing technique, even though I didn't have a well-defined one at the time. Periodically, I sent photos of my drawings to publishers or clothing brands that I knew worked with graphic arts, but no one called me. Damn, that's another thing right there, guys. Like, it's like, yo, even though you have your side hustle, you have your job, you're buying supplies, you're creating art, right? You're setting yourself up to kind of transition and to become this full-time artist and live your dream. And even then, bro, even especially in the beginning, you're gonna get hit with some no's, some maybes, like, yeah, let me get back to you. And that's just normal, guys. This is something that you have to kind of like prepare your mind, right? And this is something that in ODK we're trying hard to kind of implant with all the people that's coming in, where it's like we're kind of training the mind there, where it's you're more prone to outlast and go through stuff and not have it affect you in such a negative way that you can continue going, right? Because it's not always going to be a no, right? You don't know when the next yes is actually going to come. It might actually be a lot sooner than you think, but because you've been, getting these doors closed left and right, it can be daunting. It can be like, fuck, man, like, is this even gonna happen, right? So I can see right there that Fiasco just kind of kept it pushing, right? And not in a sense like he was oblivious to what was happening. Like, of course it hurts, right? I'm not saying don't feel it, but it seems like he just kept these things coming at him and he just continued to push forward because overall his dream was a lot more important than just getting these temporary no's and these things along the way, right? So let me go ahead and continue. I stayed like that for almost 10 years, holy shit, until finally someone called me, a clothing brand. I remember that the condition was to learn Photoshop or Illustrator. I couldn't pay for courses like that because of my financial situation, so I stayed 2 more hours each day practicing and I learned. A friend guided me through the basics, and I just learned the rest, and that excited me. I started to learn more and faster and more techniques, and I began to meet other artists, illustrators, and that's how I got into this world. So that kind of just says it right there with this story, that it's not just so cut and dry, black and white. Like, you never know when your entry into this world is going to happen, right? So in this sense, you just have to keep going. You have to keep trying. You have to keep finding different ways to make it happen, whether that means, borrowing your friend's fucking computer for an hour or two every day that has the programs that you need to use, right? Or just finding different angles to make it happen. Because if you're worried about all the negative shit that is happening through your journey, but you're never gonna make it to the other side, right? You have to kind of just shove it to the side and be like, okay, well, I understand this is like 80% against me, but I'm gonna put my energy in the 20%, and I'm gonna find a way to make this shit happen. So again, fucking shout out to Fiasco, bro. Just these two questions alone, it makes me even more bullish on you and how far you have to come in order to be in this position you are now, which is truly amazing, man. All right, number 3. What do you feel when you create? I like to create because I feel the mystery of not even knowing how what I am creating is going to end. I am really passionate about what I do, so it's always exciting for me to see new ideas and transform them. So this is something that I feel most artists can kind of relate, because obviously we create from a place of true emotion, based on what we're feeling. Some artists have something to say, other artists are more expressive, right? So it seems to me that he enjoys creating because it's kind of reinventing himself, right, as he goes along the way of finding new energy that he's able to kind of translate into his work, which is also feeding him as a person. So I guess if I had to sum it up, I'd say you're kind of like a neo-expressionist painter that has acquired a distinct style, and you kind of channel these new things to form new art. So that's pretty cool, man. I can definitely relate to that as well. Number 4. So why the name Fiasco? I remember this is something that I asked him as well when we were on a call a few weeks back, right? Because I thought it was very interesting. It's like very catchy, right? Fiasco. And I don't hear that often. So this is his response. The meaning of the word fiasco in the dictionary is failure. In short, at that time, everyone around me told me in one way or another not to dedicate myself to art, since in my country, it was much more difficult to get ahead dedicating yourself onto only art. Some made fun of my drawings, others advised me not to do this, and someone told me that if I dedicated myself to art, I was going to fail. I'll pause that real quick right there because, it sucks, but this is just reality, right? And for the most part, the people who are closest to you are sometimes the ones telling you this shit. And so I personally didn't get that. Like, I was fortunate enough to have a family who just kind of didn't care what I was doing. So in that sense, it's kind of like a neutral position, but I can only imagine what it's like to create from a place that not only are all these things already against you, but now you're getting people feeding you this type of energy, saying like, "Yo, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, this is a route for failure. Like, you're never gonna make it, right?" So the fact that you already had to fight all these things, man, and then kind of get this negative feelings from the closest people to you, because obviously you're around your friends, you're around your family the most. So that's gotta suck. So I can, fuck. Big shout outs to everybody who kind of said fuck you to these type of people and just kept going, because by this time, man, it's much easier to just say, oh man, like fuck you, maybe they're right. So
Yeah, no, I agree, and everybody needs a support system too. I just want to touch on that and how grateful I am. Like, we're all blessed to be in this age where Web3 is as prominent as it is, and we're able to connect with one another in these spaces, and artists are able to reach with one another, and just basically there's so much support that goes around between all the different communities and even one kids, just empowering one another. That I just love to see it, and I'm just so grateful that like we're here for that, and you know those people that are at home and have those people that are telling them you know you can't do it. Well, there's like 10 more people here that's telling you you can do it. So let's go. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. And we gotta keep in mind that words are very powerful, right? Like, you know, me as one person, you know, trying to mentor these artists, right? It's like the fastest thing that can communicate are words, right? So it's the way you use them, it's the way you showcase them and deliver them to these people that can really affect, right? So just keep that in mind the next time you're like, you know, either criticizing a work, or maybe maybe you don't like it, but you know, keep in mind this artist did take a lot of time, or at least the effort to kind of create this, right, and put themselves out there. So let me go ahead and just continue on with this real quick. So where did I leave off? Others advise me not to do so. I dedicate myself to art, I was going to fail. That it was going to be a fiasco, and I kept that word. It seemed powerful to me, and I liked the idea of playing with contradictions, so I started to sign like that. Then I then I started calling that like let me see. Okay. Then they started calling him that, and it stuck. Now he loves the name Fiasco more than ever. So he took this negative um, impact, this negative situation, and he kind of transformed it into a powerful message, which to him I can kind of see that it's just a reminder, right? It's a constant reminder of like the times when people told them, yo, you can't do this, or no, you shouldn't do this. And it's really cool because, you know, now he can always have this thing that, in a sense, can humble him, or at least push him and drive him when he needs that extra bit of energy, right? So the fact that he kept this word and translated it and made it him, and made it a reminder like, yo, like I'm gonna push through no matter what. And I remember these times, but now look at where I'm at. And so that's pretty cool. And so I really love that, man. It's a very unique name too, right? So Fiasco, that's dope.
yeah, there's power behind, you know, taking ownership behind that too, in a sense. You know, it's like reclaiming your power back from them and, you know, like telling them, like, yeah, you thought this, but, you know, this is what I made this to be. So, you know, it's like a power move in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it seems like with everything that Fiasco does, he does it with intention, right? He understands what's going on around him and kind of like this is situation he's in, but he's choosing to take it and make it something good as opposed to bad, you know, because like I said earlier, there's probably like 80%, maybe even more, of all this fucking things happening in life that are trying to, you know, push you away from what you're really trying to do. But holding on to that 15, 20% is a lot harder. Um, so yeah, let me go ahead and jump into the fifth one. Fifth question. Why did you decide to collaborate with One Dope Kids? This is his response. I really like the idea of participating in a project created by another artist who has the same vision, who is obviously passionate about art and wants to create more spaces to collaborate with other artist colleagues. I think it is a very cool project, and I'm grateful for the invitation. Let me go ahead and let me pause real quick and let me throw out some fucking hearts for that, because it's not easy, man. I feel like ODK is just now getting a positive connotation from the space, but let me tell you, bro, it has not been fucking easy. It feels like, and I was talking to my team about this earlier, it honestly feels like we have to prove ourselves every single time. And we're like coming from a negative position as opposed to a neutral one, right? Which is totally fucking fine, because I've always had to deal with adversity the same way that Fiasco had to find his way and go through all these things to be able to just make fucking art for a living, bro. It's the same thing we're seeing right now with the project, where it's like we're honestly stepping like very lightly, and we're very careful about the way we do things, because it's just the way it is right now. I feel like the space is just now starting to realize that, yo, we might be a positive impact in the space. Like we're actually doing stuff to push the space, right? To help artists, to help create collectors. But for the longest, man, it has honestly felt like just this gigantic wall that we had to continue to climb just to be able to see, like, just to be able to express our message, our mission, and what we're trying to do, right? So honestly, bro, can definitely relate, and I'm obviously very, very, very grateful that you said that, because the more artists that we can touch and kind of like, I don't want to say help and support, but just be around with, right, and exchange energy, exchange ideas, exchange what we're doing, right, and see how we can all as a group push it forward in a way that we all win, you know. So it has been difficult, I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like right now we're at a place that people are like starting to trust us a bit more, and the more I hop into spaces, the more we're answering questions. It's like people are finally letting us and giving us a chance to even explain and kind of show what we're doing. So thank you for saying that, bro. It means a lot, honestly. um and yeah, the last question: what was on your mind while creating your critter? And this is Fiasco's response. To be honest, I drew him doing something that I like to do, which is painting murals. But I imagined how he would look inside and how his soul shines through his eyes while he paints, and always with the touch of graffiti in the street I like. Yo, that's fire. And then that's something I did want to kind of like ask, because you created this critter and you gave it eyes that I have never seen done before on this critter. Even with our own personal uh, collection, like with the collection overall, and it has various ones of ones. I never used the eyes the way that you did, right? With these, like, it kind of looks like a halo within the eyes. It is glowing, so I was curious about that, and you just answered it. So it's really sick to see and kind of have you explain this a little bit more, because I do see obviously the critter has the roller in his hand, which is obviously touching on being a muralist. I see the texture in the background. It has that concrete type of vibe, so it feels like he's about to go and just, you know, fuck up the wall and do something crazy, which I love. He has some sneakers, you know, and I love I love what you did with the sneakers too, bro. You didn't do the actual like cross lacing. You did the hip hop Adidas straight laced, right? I remember what that was in. So that's another thing that I noticed, just from being in that world. But yeah, guys, this is honestly a very, very special piece, and I'm just stoked to have this be, you know, in the collection as an honorary critter, because it's definitely gonna be one of those moments in time that we look back to and be like, damn, yeah, like this was like, it's like a trophy in a sense in my mind, right? It's just a stamp point. It's a stamp in time of when we did this together. Um, but yeah, guys, that's the end of those questions right there. You know, to kind of get a little more knowledge on Fiasco, where he comes from, how he creates, and his thought process. You know, when doing art, and all the things that he had to go through. Um, and you know, that was, wow, we're exactly at 33 minutes now for the auction, so we're timing this kind of perfect. So if anybody has something to say, any questions about the art right now before we get into it with Awesomo, feel free to come up and, you know, ask whatever you want for the next 2 minutes before we get into it.
Also, feel free to post in the alley chat any questions you might have if you don't feel comfortable coming up and speaking. I mean, by all means, I'm over here. I'm looking in the chat as well. So, yeah, just post anything that you might have, and
Yeah, because I can
yeah.
keep going all day, man. I can talk about this shit all day, but you know, I don't want you guys to get tired of my voice. So if anybody wants to come up, feel free, man.
I really like Fiasco's critter though. I mean, just the watching the video play through and seeing the time he took to like draw out all the little details, and like, man, it's just it's amazing to see like the artist's work in progress like that. It's I love it every time.
Yeah, and the color too, you know, the blues and the orange, and then the little touch with the crown, like, and the little highlights on his face, right? These are all details that it's like, damn, it makes a huge difference, right? Even like the fingertips, I see paint on the fingertips. It just adds that little extra touch, right? To really bring the whole piece to life, which is really cool. And the ears too, right? He added like these Mickey ears, right, as like a backdrop, which is kind of interesting because it does give it a whole new different shape to the face. Like I see more of like a Mickey type of head as opposed to the regular critter. So that was really cool to see. Like I'm learning a lot by these artists taking these critters and then doing their own rendition. You know, even down to the shadow, the way he did the shadow on the feet, like on the floor, he did it like in very very skinny lines to create the whole shape, right? And it just adds like that extra little flavor to it. You know, that's something that I hadn't seen before. So it's really cool to have these artists kind of like create based on their experiences and their styles. But yeah, man, if Awesomo, if you're ready to go, man, we can hop straight into it. I would love to kind of dive into your mind a little bit, kind of get your take on what it's been like to create the lore for us, right? And that whole process of your creative expression.
I'm here. I'm here.
Word.
Can everybody hear me?
So,
All right.
yeah,
I
you're
think
good,
there's a
man.
little
Yep,
delay.
exactly, my friend.
All right. Awesome. All right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
for
So
this,
shall
for
we
this,
put question
yeah,
or
yeah, for this segment, real quick, guys, I'll go ahead and have Awesomo, give an introduction about himself, and then it'll just be like a back and forth conversation with questions and stuff to kind of get an understanding of who he is, what he's doing for the project, and in his overall creative mind space.
All right. So, cheers, guys. I'm Awesomo, and I've been writing full time for almost 5 years now. And I've always loved stories ever since I was a little kid, pretty much. But I loved it more than the regular, like everyone in my circle. I read like a couple of thousand books, I guess, in the meantime. I'm 36 by now, so I've had a little bit of time to grow and develop. Yeah, so I was writing my own books when eventually, like last year in October, I joined a NFT project, my first ever NFT project. I was in crypto since 2017, a little before, but I figured let's try this out, and then I started writing for that project. And once I did, I realized that it was the perfect training grounds for somebody who wants to become better. Because however much like you want to grow, what's the most important part is that the feedback loop is really small. So the moment you have output, you want like comments on that output as quickly as possible, because that will mean that you can learn as quick as possible. And also the space, like the whole NFT space, is so like full of projects that need somebody to tie the the stuff that is reality together with something that people can identify with, right? Most of the time, this is like a little bit of lore, which meant that if I work in this space, I can just hop in and out of universes, take a deep dive, and write something that is like completely not my own idea, but it is like perfect training. So yeah, fast forward a year or something, and Drew like asked me to come join One Dope Kids, and now I've been writing for like 3 months. Already have like 12, 13 chapters, I guess, that are in the background, of which only 2 are released yet. So there is a lot of stuff in the background happening that hasn't been released yet. I
Yeah,
guess
man,
that's
we've
my
been going
introduction.
at it. Yeah, we've been going at it for months, man. And every week we have this meeting, we read the chapters and talk about it. We do edits if needed, and it's an ongoing story based on reality, right? So when I approached them, right,
Loosely
and
based.
Loosely based, yeah, but it's based on actual events, right? Or like how things kind of formulated, but in a much more funner way, right? To be able to read and overall, you never know what can happen with this lore,
Yeah.
but it's
There's
been
definitely
exciting
aspects that
to
you'll obviously be able to tell aren't, real, but for the most part, there will be some that you'll be like, oh dang. Once pointed out, you'll realize like, oh wow, this is something that really is it's interesting, So
yeah.
I would say it's a metaphor of reality, right? So it's not truly like okay, so there's a lot of fantasy aspects in there, but all of them are a metaphor for certain like events in Lyco's life. At least that's
Yeah.
how I write it.
Yeah, exactly. So what Osmo has been able to do with what I had given him, right? So essentially started of how I became my own version of a one dope kid. And this is really the whole emphasis of the whole project, right? It's like my experiences had formulated me into this artist, to this person, and now he was able to take this information and kind of write these beautiful chapters that are very vivid. They're very easy to read. They're very, visually pleasing. Like you can honestly formulate the whole vision in your head when you're reading. And this is something I told him because I'm not the best reader. Like I'm an audio person type of like audiobook type of person. So the fact that I can read these and actually be excited and be like, oh shit, like that was fun. That was a big thing that I was concerned about. I was like, fuck, I don't want this shit to be boring. Like, and Austin has just honestly, he's been killing it. So I want to kind of just dive in a little bit more on how that whole process comes to be for you, Osmo. It's like you kind of understand the story of One Dope Kids, right? What we're doing with it, where we're going, and kind of like where the story is leading to. But from your perspective, like how has it been, having to kind of, I guess, in a sense, dive into my personality to kind of create these chapters?
Well, first of all, it's been like extremely interesting, right? This is literally the reason why I'm here, to dive into like different universes, adapt to whatever universe and the rules of that universe, and then write as if I like as if I came up with the idea myself, right? Like that's the ultimate goal, that you write so good that that it like you make it your own in some way, even though it's not your own, and even though you let go of it at a certain point, you still try to make it your own, right? So I've been like you and Ru, like you guys wrote, I guess I have no idea how much it was again, like maybe a paragraph, maybe two paragraphs of like what you wanted the story to be. And from that, I eventually ended up making 9 chapters, right? And those 9 chapters were I took like a sentence or two off of your paragraphs, the stuff that you wrote, and then I embellished that. So I made a complete story out of it, right? Because for a story, you need the right characters. Those characters need to have like certain traits, certain way of speaking, certain things they love, things they hate, things they, conflicts, uh, future aims, and all this stuff, like what a person is, interacts with the world around it. So you had a lot of world, but not a lot of character yet. So what I did pretty much is I just put the characters in that world, and then everything happens like almost as if I don't have any control as what happens, right? So I just sit down, and like you said with darn it, Fiasco, right? Like he didn't know where he ends as well, right? So he starts drawing something, and then he knows, like he has a basis on what he what he works with, and then that basis gets like embellished and ever prettier and ever more beautiful. He fills in like the empty spaces and gives it life. And that's literally what I do as well. And for me, I have like this skeleton of a structure of a story, and then I fill it, right? I fill it with life. And that is pretty much my task, right? So if you have a just imagine a street in front of you, right? It's just an empty street, but you can't just write an empty street, right? So you need to fill it with life. There is a car driving by. On the opposite side are two people talking with each other, laughing, right? You're looking for something. Maybe there's a shop somewhere or whatever. Like you fill it, right? I have this whole base structure in my mind, so this skeleton of the story, but this stuff which actually gives it life is something that I don't know until I sit down. So that's literally my process. I just sit down and write, iterate, and get ever better and better at it, right? And if you do that for a couple of years, stuff like that gets easier and easier. So there's also like certain techniques, certain archetypes of characters, and that you need to have in your story, because otherwise nobody is going to listen to it, right? So you can't have a perfect world with a perfect person that only makes perfect choices, because that's just not based on anything that we can identify with as human. Because we all make mistakes, we all need to learn from them, and what we love most is seeing people overcome these problems that they have, right? So we watch movies that are like action heroes that have these like problems, right, and then have to overcome these problems. Like we all know the detective that sits at home and is drank himself into a stupor because his wife, his lover, I don't know, his colleague died, right? And so he goes out and he's like a very depressed, straightforward, and head-on, like kind of guy. Like it's there are these archetypes that we have to work with, and it is like yeah, I don't really know where I wanted to go with this. It's already a little bit late for me too,
No,
so
you're good, man.
I'll just
I got you.
heading now, right? I'm just rambling on after somebody interrupt.
Yeah, man. But let me finish that for you, bro. How fucking beautiful is that, man? Like the fact that this man has been with these couple of months, and he's been able to just kind of help us create this universe, right? And with him, we gave him all complete freedom. You know, we like he said, we gave him two paragraphs of the premise of the story, what we want to say, how many characters, and he just came back with like, "Yo, okay, this character is this character, like what's the personality for this?" And I'm over here answering questions like, that he's asking me. And just the other day, the latest chapter, he came up with this idea of how to kind of bring it all together, with having like the main character kind of have like this future self that's coming back, but he's like very mysterious and shit. And I'm like, dude, bro, that's fucking perfect. Like, how the fuck did you even like think to do that? And I'm over here like, I haven't even thought about it yet, but that's literally like the way I want to go about this, right? So it's like he has been able to, as a creative, not only understand the project and like the vibe of all this shit, but be able to be in my mind and be like, okay, this is what he wants and this is the direction. So I'm very like, I was mind blown when that happened. I was like, damn, bro, like you're so in tuned with the project and like your task that you have found the way to kind of like create without us having to tell you anything really. So I was very impressed with that, man. And this is one of the things that a lot of people don't even see or even come to understand. It's like us with Wonder Kids, we have all these things that we're doing on the sideline, on the back end, that with time we'll reveal, we'll showcase. But it's like, I feel like most people when talk about OD Kids, like they're like, oh yeah, they do art. I'm like, bro, it's so much more than that, right? It's like we're actually working with creatives. We're doing stuff that can, we're giving out free game, things that they can take and apply already, right? Even with collectors, we're teaching these guys that are coming from the generative side that want to become one-on-one collectors, and they want to be more serious with their curations, right? And we're right there to facilitate that. So all these things that we're kind of doing along the way, I feel like over time it is going to be on the spotlight, but it's been fucking hard, doing it on the back end, and people are not really understanding what's going on. So,
No,
big shout
it's
out for
just one of
everybody
those
in here
things.
right
You
now
know,
that
we're
fucks with
gonna we're
us.
gonna get
Yeah.
our time in the spotlight. It's only a matter of time. It's we just gotta sit there and just keep on pushing, keep on building, and keep on showing them what we're about. And before long, they'll be coming to us, and that's all it's about. But going back on the subject of the lore, though, I do want to touch on just how awesome like Awesomo has been to work with, and it's he's been a great guy. He does a lot of it on his own. I tell him, look, reach out if you need any help, if you need anything. But he's a machine. He gets there, he gets the pen, and he gets going. And I love it. If you haven't checked out the first two chapters, go ahead and give them a read. But a lot of what we do in our lore meetings aren't just discussing the story either, but it's also about like how we're going to present it to you guys, and what ways are we going to show this story, or what ways are we going to curate it. So there are some things that we do have coming that we're working on.
Fuck
So
it,
just keep
I
an
mean,
eye
we could
out.
say it like we have the plans. Like we just got on off a call. Was it yesterday? We hired a voiceover actor to read this and read the chapters and put it in audio form for you guys to enjoy, right? And we're looking into how to potentially have like the Spotify main image be animated to kind of give you the overall vibe of the chapter to help you visually put that emotion into place while you're listening to the chapters. So these are all things that we're doing to kind of help you guys understand and kind of learn a little bit more about what it is, like the type of energy that we're facilitating to the space. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
coming,
I mean,
in due
the
time.
biggest thing is, like a lot of people don't have the time to sit down and read full stories. People have kids, people have full-time jobs, and a lot of people might have time to sit there in their car and listen to it. And if you like what you hear, you like the story, why wouldn't you want to continue it, right? So
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those
Yeah.
things just to give value back to you guys, give you guys another opportunity to be able to, I guess, just enjoy that.
Yeah, but yeah, big shout out to Awesomo, bro. You honestly have become a part of us, right? And this is like a relationship that is gonna be ongoing. You know what I mean? It's like the story will never end. So, what does that mean as far as opportunity for him to continue being a lore master and kind of growing with the project, right? As more funnels, more opportunities come, more resources come, like we're only gonna channel these things and just broaden the horizon and open up more doors for everybody that's kind of like within the project. You know what I mean? So that's kind of really the overall premise and mission for this. Like we are realistic in the sense of like, okay, how can we utilize everything that we have right now and push it and create these opportunities for not just us but people who are coming into the project, right? So thank you, bro, for coming up here and really, talking about it and having these people get to know you a little bit better, because I do think it's important for everyone to kind of start to get these introductions of who is involved in ODK, right? And in what way, right? So that was definitely very important to have this mini interview.
Right. And
Sure, sure. Thanks a lot.
you go ahead
Mhm.
if you have anything you want to say, but I was just want to ask if you had any advice or any tips for people that are, starting out their writing career and trying to reach out, into the Web3 space.
Yeah, so you could do what I do and then simply write 100 words. Oh no, I started with 50 words per day and just do that for a couple of time for a couple of weeks, and then you up that to 100 words and then to 200 words and however many you feel comfortable. But the important thing is you have to write every day, even if it's just a little bit. And even if it's just 2 lines, right? It's literally about output. It's about getting used to writing, being able to build trust for yourself, so you eventually know that as soon as you sit down, you know that you can perform and you know that you can write something. And that just costs time and it costs energy in the beginning. And everybody wants to write a book or whatever, write a huge story sometime in their life, but the task is enormous, right? But break it down into 50 words a day kind of pieces, or even if you write 100 words a day, right? There are books that are only 50,000 words. So that's like, I don't know, it's 500 words. I'm very bad at math. I'm good with words, but I'm bad at math. So whoever has do your thing.
All good,
But yeah,
man.
but yeah, like eventually I write about I guess I can write about 2,000 words a day if I really go at it, right? But like normally I write thousand words max, and that used to take me, I don't know, 4 hours. But now if I know what I'm gonna write, it's about 1 hour of writing. It's about 1,000 words. So imagine that most books have about 100,000 words. That's it, right? If you learn to write 1,000 words a day, it's going to take you 3 months, and you will have your book. That is literally the key. But you have to build up to it, right? It's
Right. It's a muscle. You have to train it. It's not something that you
exactly.
can just pick up on, you know. I completely understand what you mean. You have to just
And
keep at
then
it constantly.
not only that, but you'll notice that, okay, so you have this story and you think it's good, so you start writing. So you write, I don't know, 50 words a day, but you come up to 1,000 words, right? 20 days later you have 1,000 words, and then you notice that suddenly, like, stuff gets easier, and things that you wrote are not as good as you thought that it was, right? Start again. It's so important to just start again, because whenever you, so for instance, for me, I the first time that I had the first iteration of my book, I wrote about 20,000 words. Took me way longer than it would take me now. But once I written those 20,000 words, like, you have to understand, English is my third language, so it's not like I was perfect at English yet. So at that moment, I just realized that I could do so much better, because what I had done is I had written the story from a bird's eye view, not from the perspective of a person, not with emotions. No, just a bird's eye view, where you have conversations and you describe how they travel through, I don't know, streets and whatever, right? But you notice eventually that you'll get better, and then, like, it's so important not to go back and edit, but to start again. That's just all I want to say.
I just want to say, like, it's really admirable, the mentality behind, just consistency is key, right? And I
Yeah,
feel like it
definitely.
applies more, everywhere in life, if you kind of just take a step back and analyze everything that is successful in your life came from a level of consistency. It's the mentality of 1% better every day versus trying to skip ahead and do the hard stuff. It becomes easier as time passes. So
Well,
I admire you for that.
well, you can do the hard stuff. Like, literally, for
Sure.
me,
Yeah.
the first thing that I was planning on writing was my 17 book long story that is literally the goal of my life, right? So I have a story which will span 17 books, which will have to be written before I die somewhere, hopefully far in the future. But, like, my brother, everybody is saying, like, why don't you start with the short story, right? But that's just not my thing. I can't do it. I need to have complex personality, like, I don't know, a freaking huge epic story, right? That's just what I gravitate to. That's what I love to read myself, but that's also what I would love to actually put out there in the world. So I can't just write a short story, because a short story that is about something else, just so I could, like, begin writing. But then you get to that point where indeed you find out that you've gotten better, because you continually wrote. And then I start again. So what you can also do, like, you can either choose a simple subject to start with and then work your way up difficulty degrees, or you start with something that's insanely difficult and then, like me, like, smash your head against it until it gives, right? But that's not for everybody.
Yeah. You know what? Let's go ahead and do a little something for the audience here, because I feel like we have, like, a really good group right now, and I would definitely love to give them a little treat. But before I go ahead and ask this of you, Osmo, I want to remind everybody that there is 7 minutes left on the auction, Street Creator by Fiasco. And yeah, man, it's looking good. It's holding strong at 21 soul, and I believe the bidder is anonymous. Yep. But yes, let's go ahead and give him a little treat, Awesome. If you don't mind, man, you don't have to, but can we give the audience a quick synopsis of our lore, right? Coming from your words, I think that'll be kind of nice. You know, it doesn't have to be long. It could be, you know, nice and short, but you know, a little synopsis of what it's about. You know, get them to understand a little bit about
You
it.
sure we want to give this out?
Sure. I mean, I can do it.
Let's see some
So
hearts in the space. If we want to get this out there, let's see some
Yeah,
hearts if you guys
I'll
want to
do
hear
some
this.
hearts, bro. Yeah, give them a little treat, man. Like just you know, a
All
little
right, all
intro
right,
into our lore.
fine. Let's do it. If Osimo's down, I mean, no pressure, by the
all
way.
right. Yeah, it's not. I'm just trying to package it in such a way that's still going to be interesting to read. Otherwise, it's just going to be like an iteration
Well,
of the story itself,
no
which is
problem. I'll let you
No,
get
I
that.
okay.
think
I'll let you get that
So
together for a moment. Give you a
yeah,
second.
no,
I
no,
yeah.
just
it's
want.
Think of
okay.
it
Yeah.
like a trailer.
Okay,
Okay. In
by
a
all
world,
means.
in a place. Is that the trailer kind of thing? All right. So
Yes, I love it.
the story simply begins with Chris and Andy, two taggers, gravity artists, who plan to write a masterpiece, paint a masterpiece on a high rise somewhere in Los Angeles. And so they make their way and they create this masterpiece, eventually getting chased away. Andy goes home, and eventually, like, Andy runs home. And and there we get to the point where I am going to spoil a little bit, but this literally happens in chapter 2. So if you've read it, then it's already there. Andy gets
Hey,
dragged through a portal and into another place, right? And this other place resembles Earth very much, but it is gray. It is pretty lifeless in that sense, right? So Andy goes there and he discovers a creature. Okay, so it's very hard to tell something like without giving away spoilers, because like all these chapters aren't released yet. So I literally can't say anything except what's happened
Like,
in the
how much
first
of
two.
freedom are you giving him to say right now? Let's make sure we're clear
Yeah,
here.
no, but
I
also like
mean, I could do it if you like. I can kind of just give a quick little, you know, without saying anything. So
sure,
basically
better.
the
Yeah.
story, all right, yeah, the story goes with Andy, kind of discovering this place, right? And the overall theme of the story, I guess, it's, you know, he has he's in touch with finding other Wando kids within the story that all have had their own unique experiences, right? And they all have a unique like ability, like a gift to them, you know, a creative gift. And so they form kind of like this group, right? And they're against a big, you know, entity like a villain, so to speak. And the overall plot is them fighting to create this vivid world again of creativity, of passion, of love, which the overall big entity is trying to suppress, and it's trying to have everybody be the same, act the same, you know, and just basically be puppets. Does that sound somewhat familiar? You know what I mean? So
Uh, it's a perfect. Yeah, like I never could have done it as succinctly. I am. I'm
I
very
got you, fam. So
in my
that's
speaking.
yeah,
No,
word.
no, go
So
ahead.
no, I would say so that's like the overall premise, I would say, right? And Osimo has been able to write these chapters in a way that's very compelling to continue reading. And a lot of them kind of land and finish on a cliffhanger where it's like, oh fuck, like we're just getting to the good stuff, right? So it's like, what the fuck happens next, you know? So I would definitely suggest everybody to if you don't want to take the time to read, that's totally fine. But just by the time we actually release like an audio version, that's when I would definitely say, yo, hop on that, take, fucking whatever, 10, 15 minutes to listen to it so you can start painting that picture of what ODK really is in a very fun, like fantasy type of way, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that's exactly it. And I'm extremely excited for the audiobook version.
Yeah, dude, that
Yeah, it's
guy
gonna
with
be awesome.
with the voice, fuck, man. I was just like, he was like, all right, let me go ahead and give you a preview. I was like, bro, they honestly felt like this guy has been like, living in Hogwarts for all his life. Like, the vibe he gave me. He gave me no, Hagrid vibes. Like very mystical and like fucking just experienced and like this voice, bro, deep and shit. I was like, damn, dude, that's gonna be epic. So I think he's working on the first chapter and he's gonna deliver it next week. So I'm definitely stoked to hear that, man.
Yeah,
It's
Sweet.
like,
can't wait to hear how that
yeah,
comes out.
yeah. I do understand we have a giveaway, right?
That's
That we
right.
want to do in this space right
I
now.
have it pinned up in the
And
top of the chat.
awesome. Let's go ahead and run that since there is 1 minute left on the auction. So it's gonna be a nice little combination to go ahead and announce that winner.
Yeah, we're gonna go
Oh
ahead and give
shit.
every. I was gonna take a second to announce it so everybody in the room. If you haven't entered, you can go give it an enter. All you have to do is just like and retweet, follow One Dope Kids and High Blinks, and just be here in the space. It's that simple. So we're gonna pull that
Yep.
in 1 minute, and yeah.
That being said, the auction has been extended. It is now at 23.1 Sol, and we
Oh,
have a new bidder, or not new, but he has rebid Frex Express. Damn, guy Frex wants this one. I think this is like the third or fourth time he bids. Man, Frex, for those who know Frex, I mean, you know what kind of person he is. Like, man, super fucking stoked to have him as one of our king holders. The guy has just been nothing but great vibes. And so yeah, man, super stoked to have you with ODK and have us, be a part of the push that we're trying to do. And he's not only a collector, by the way. He also creates works and art. Yeah, he does these series of like, I think the last one I collected was like these flowers, like these abstract flowers. And if I'm not mistaken, his process is like a little bit of photography and then digital and mixing them together, which is kind of cool to see. So shout out to Frex, man, for being the top bidder right now. Wish he was here. Is he? No, he's not. He usually is. Oh, we got Soulcat in here. What's up, bro? Let me give you some hearts real quick. Soulcat has been such a fun person to kind of just have this ongoing relationship with, and seeing how he has just kind of transitioned and just really impacted the space in his own way, right, with his art. And I would say it's very inspiring for not just new artists, but like even artists that have been around because it's refreshing when somebody comes in and it's like they have a whole new type of way of doing things, right? Or why are they even creating art in the first place? So shout out to SoCal, bro, because you're killing the game right now. I'm very stoked to see how far you can take it. You know what I mean? You got ODK to back you up. You got my love and support. It's an ongoing thing, bro. It's beautiful to see. So another creative that's just killing it right now. And I'm proud to say he's one of us. Um, so yeah, man, let's go ahead and run that giveaway, bro.
yeah, I'm running it right now. Just redrawing it until we hit somebody that's in the space.
Word. Hell yeah. And then let me go ahead and talk about Drew real quick, man. Fuck, this guy. Let me tell you what he's been doing for this space, bro. He has broken down and has been acquiring data from collectors, right, to see and facilitate what collectors need more in the space. So far, how many responses have we gotten for that survey, Drew?
I think we closed up around 78. But yeah, it's officially closed, and we have. I haven't done the total, but I'm looking at the total screen of data points, and we have at least over 2,000. So
Jesus. So that's fucking exciting to hear. I
It's
know
pretty cool.
it is, man, because how hard is it to get people to even fill out surveys nowadays? You know what I mean? Everybody's attention span's like fucking 2 seconds, you know, it's like boom, boom, here and there. So the fact that they took the time to answer these questions, it just shows that these people truly care, right? And then want to see
Our
great things
winner has been
happening.
chosen.
Word. Go ahead and announce it, bro.
Yes, a NFT, YSC NFT, my friend.
Oh
Let's
I never know how to
shit.
pronounce your
go.
name, but if you want to come up, by all means you can. If you
Hey.
don't want to, no pressure. But I'd love to learn how to pronounce your name one of these days. And yeah, congratulations, you won the Hyperlinks piece.
Congrats,
Word.
YSE.
Damn. Hell yeah. Love to see it, man. Yeah, this is fun, bro. Honestly, I am blessed to be here with you guys. Blessed to be building here. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's fuck, man. Stoked. Oh, he's coming
Here
up.
we go. We got him up.
Perfect.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Hey,
Let's
let's
go.
go. YSE, welcome.
Yo,
And
yo,
congrats.
that was crazy. I was not expecting that.
Damn. Well, shit. Early
Congrats.
Christmas gift, bro. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, so much. That's amazing. And it's been a wicked spaces, man. I love just having you guys on and just hearing you guys vibing out because it's always an excellent spaces and time well spent, man.
Hell yeah. Much love. Appreciate that, man. And you know, we just
Much love indeed.
yeah, it's an ongoing thing, right? Like the vibe, it's continue. It's always changing. So every week, like me as a founder, I know my team as well, right? We're learning new stuff every single fucking day. So it's like kind of cool to be able to express it and share it with you guys and have you guys intake that information and apply it in your own way. So, we wouldn't be able to be here without you guys being, giving us the time of day, to actually even listen.
Yeah, man. But I like one thing for sure is like vibe in here is like a completely different energy to like any other Web3 Twitter space I go in. It's just so consistent and calm and like you consider perspectives that mostly gets left out, in the hype and in the speed of everything. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Fuck yeah. Let me throw some hearts for that, bro.
No, yeah,
I'm
that was some
stoked
great
over here.
feedback. And that was such a great compliment. Thank you so much. Yeah, we really try to, make sure that these spaces are just such a vibe and it's somewhere people can come hang out, listen, and they're able to actually learn something and see things and just grow as a person. That's what it's about. We're all here to grow and we're here to grow together.
And let's go ahead and clarify this right now, bro. How do you pronounce your handle?
It's just as the letters are YSE.
Oh, okay, okay, got you.
Okay,
So it's not like no
gotcha.
Yves Saint Laurent type of thing. It's all right, got you, fam. It's
Yeah, yeah.
YSC.
No, I didn't quite. But
Word,
that
word. Beautiful, man. But
let's
yeah, man, let's go. I'll go ahead and shoot me your wallet address so we can get you situated with that piece. And yeah, man, let's keep it rolling. The auction has closed, by the way. The winning bid was 23 sold by my man Frex. Dude, my guy has
Let's
been
go.
sniping ODK stuff left and right, bro. That's awesome.
congratulations.
Hell yeah, dude. Love to see it. Let me go
Well,
ahead
if
and
you did bid
play.
but you didn't win, don't worry because you do have a whitelist to the critters coming up. So, we'll be doing that in January, and so yeah,
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Yeah, man.
Know it.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
January 13th.
Oh shit.
Oh, that's
Damn.
awesome.
That's
Let's
dope. Let's go. Yeah. Fucking finally stoked to bring this to the public, man. I can't wait to see what the people say about the art, right? Like I've been fucking putting everything that we got, and like I'm pulling heavy, bro, on just cartoon nostalgia, right? Giving giving emphasis on like lost characters, from the past that are kind of getting left behind. I want to kind of just keep them alive through our project, right? So
yeah,
I'm kind of stoked to see, people pulling some of their favorite characters, or they're not like fighting for to have that favorite character because it's gonna hit different, you know. Like everybody has their favorite cartoon character, right? So now imagine to be able to collect it as a one-on-one form of collection. Like fuck, it's gonna be epic.
Yeah, man. Like it's funny, like the way I see that collection is, like when we were youths, it's like it was hand drawn cartoons or like variations of it, like that vintage style. And then you got Warner Brothers and all that awesome Disney stuff, like super early stuff. Like I love that style. But then now you've got it's all like these sort of budget to cheap animation, like 3D animation, and it's always like aliens and sort of really polished renders and that. And I like how you're kind of throwing that vintage swagger onto the polished renders of today, if that makes sense. Like I like the
Uh,
swagger.
no, yep, that's fucking on point. That's exactly what we're doing. And obviously these have to be kind of renditions. They can't be exactly like the character, but like we are pulling from, for instance, I'll go ahead and name some that we have actually leaked in the Discord, right? So we have Pink Panther in there. You know what I mean? We have Marvin the Martian. We have, this is one that I guarantee some
And
people
these aren't the
forgot
character
about.
names, but these are just variations, like inspired by these characters.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have Inspector Gadget. You know what I mean? When's
Oh,
the last time you fucking heard Inspector Gadget? Like, I've never seen that guy in fucking space. Like nobody's done it.
bro,
So stuff like this, man. Yeah.
that's good. That's so good.
Yeah, man. So that's honestly what we're trying to do as far as the art goes, like keeping it fun, collectible, and something that can age well with time, right? Uh, but yeah, that being
Yeah,
said,
pretty
let's go
soon
ahead and
we'll be giving more information out too. Excuse me, about things in the near future. We got a lot more that we want to share, and it's just really about waiting for the right time to start sharing it. And so, it's going to be coming. So just keep your eyes out.
And then the last thing before we close this out, or at least before we open it up for anybody to come up and buy for a little bit, I am going to be dropping a video tomorrow on my personal account. And this video has been something that I've been working on for a while now, right? It's been an accumulation of like how I started as an artist, right? And it's kind of like a promo video, but it's like real life footage, which I'm happy I fucking documented, by the way, of like moments that really were impactful for me to kind of go to the next level, right? So I gathered these clips and we put it together in a way that is kind of telling you the storyline, right? From 2017 to 2018, which was by far the most craziest and like very risky moment in my life where I was kind of like, yo, if this doesn't work out, like I have nothing else, right? So I'm very stoked to kind of to share that with you guys tomorrow. So just keep an eye out for when I do drop it on Twitter because it's very fucking sentimental and special for me to see. Like when I got it back from the editor for the first time, I was like, God damn, bro! Like I almost shed a tear, right? Just seeing how fucking far I've come and how hard these certain moments were for me, and to kind of just take that and be able to share with the world, right? It's like I'm giving everything of me into this. So, just stay tuned for it, man. If you fuck with it, dope, share it. If not,
Yeah.
no worries.
So keynotes from that is make sure you follow everybody up on the panel. Follow One Dope Kids, Lyco, Drew, YSE, Awesomo. We appreciate you all, and thank you all for coming hang out with us for this creative mind space. We have a lot of insight from Streetwalker, from Awesomo, and from Lyco himself. And yeah, just we appreciate you all coming chill with us and pushing this forward. And we wouldn't be here without you.
Exactly. I'm gonna go ahead
Thanks
and
for
play the
having us.
closeout song. And yeah, man, just everybody have a great fucking weekend.